and welcome to the Coffee and Hero Show. This is the pull list section of the show this week. This is me taking you through my pull list, what made the cut for this week, which is March the 30th. This is going to be the new Comic Book Day releases this Wednesday. So I'm in a unique position actually doing this one for a change, where I've actually read half my pull list already, so I can stand behind some of these titles. Yeah, we had a quieter morning. I just thought, you know what, time to do a bit of reading. But I'm going to take you through what I have anyway. As ever, there'll be releases beyond just these. Have a look at the socials in the morning for what's on the racks and so forth. But this is just what made my list. So kicking things off with DC versus Vampires number 6. So this is James Tynion IV, Matthew Rosenberg, and Otto Schmidt. This issue was brilliant. This is one of the ones I read this morning. So we're at issue 6, which is the halfway point, and this feels like a very significant midpoint. There's massive revelations galore in this issue, great battles, some bloody confrontations, a big twist as well. And as Stephen may have pointed out as well, I don't know if you guys know The True Lives of the Fabulous Killjoys, the hardcover, but this cover looks eerily similar to it. Maybe I should superimpose it over like this. And you see what I mean? So yeah, DC versus Vampires, absolutely brilliant. Can't recommend that series in general enough. Next up we have Amazing Spider-Man. So this has made it on my list this week. I feel slightly like I'm cheating a little bit here because I haven't been keeping up with Amazing Spider-Man, but this is the last issue just before we get the new relaunch coming soon with John Romita Jr. coming back. I want to know what the status of the Spider-Man universe is before jumping into that. So this is another one I may have read this morning. Expect this one to pop up onto your keys of the week list and that kind of thing. There may be a first appearance in it. I'm not saying anything else. Next up is Shadow War Alpha. Again, another one I read this morning. You can probably see by the order I'm doing these, what I have read and what I haven't. But Shadow War Alpha, this is essentially the primer into what is Joshua Williamson's main event while he's doing Batman. So you're going to have Shadow War Alpha, you're going to have Shadow War Omega at the end, and in between there's going to be issues of Batman, Deathstroke Inc. and Robin. And if the quality of those is anything to go by based on this was brilliant. This felt like a big DC Gotham based event. Really, really class. To go into too much would be to spoil, but suffice to say there's reunions between, you know, Bruce and Damian for the first time in a while. There's what it means to be an Al Ghul and your legacy you want to leave in the world. There's some great stuff with Deathstroke and who he's mixed up with. Just a brilliant, brilliant first issue. I could not stop turning the pages with this one. I thought it was absolutely great. Another one I finished off today was Dark Ages number 6. So Tom Taylor, Ivan Coelho. This is Tom Taylor's swan song, essentially from Marvel. He's signed to DC exclusively. We still don't know the full details of that, you know, what titles he's going to be going on to. Of course, he's already doing, you know, great work with Nightwing, Superman, Son of Kal-El. But this was great as well. This left me pining. I never thought I'd say this, but this left me pining for a Tom Taylor written Deadpool series. Deadpool has the two best moments of issue 5 and of this as well. But this just ended so satisfyingly. Really, really class. I think it'd make a good animated movie, similar to what, you know, they did with Justice League Dark, Apocalypse, that kind of thing. You couldn't do live action because it's its own thing, but some of the twists are great. Some of the characters' motivations are great. Brilliant villain with Apocalypse as well. Just all around, just a ton of fun with Dark Ages. Next up, and again we're continuing with what I've read, Something is Killing the Children number 21. So James Tynion IV, Werther Dell'Edera. So this is the start of Arc 5 of Something is Killing the Children. Issues 16 to 20. Arc 4 dealt very much with the origin story for Erica Slaughter. But if you remember at the end of 15, she was basically going out on the road. And this issue is very heavily reliant on introducing you to new characters, introducing you to a new town. But of course, you know, Erica's never too far. So really strong restart for Something is Killing the Children as well. Hulk number 5, Donny Cates, Ryan Otley, read this as well. Still can't make a nor head of it. I still don't know if this is great or gibberish, but it had a really cool ending. I will give it that. The art has been spectacular the whole way through, and I'm looking forward to issue 6, which is going to introduce a new big villain as well. So, but yeah, if nothing else, it's one of the prettiest books on the racks. Next up, another one I've read, Silver Surfer Rebirth. We're up as far as issue 3 now. So this is, of course, Ron Marsh, Ron Lim continue on their, essentially stuff from their continuity. It's almost like a greatest hits package, it feels like at times, and that's not a bad thing. You know, it's clean art, it's really nice action, it's great character motivations. There's a brilliant scene in this with Thanos and Nebula that'll just break your heart as well. Just really, really good comics right there, Silver Surfer Rebirth. I've read one more, we'll see if you can guess what it is as I go through this. X-Men Unlimited's next up. So this is X-Men Unlimited Latitude. This was on Marvel Unlimited. This was a digital first series. Written by Jonathan Hickman, art by Declan Shelby. So it's now being collected into print form. So it's a double-sized issue, and I'm looking forward to tucking into that, so you can clearly tell that that is not the one I have read. On to some of the indie stuff. We have A Righteous Thirst for Vengeance. So we're continuing on with a new story arc. Rick Remender, Andre Lima Arillo. The trade, of course, is already available as well. It's another one of those sweet $10 price point issues. Trade paperbacks. So issue 6 continuing on with that. Blood on Sunset. This is one that I really dug the first issue of. It was basically noir vampires in 1940s Hollywood. Tell me that doesn't work. So that is a great series. New Burn as well. We have Chip Zdarsky, Jacob Phillips, continuing on with their own noir title. Their sort of, enforcer who sort of sits in that grey area between the cops and the mob, but is able to keep the peace between both. So really cool series. You got Radiant Black back this week for the start of the third story arc. So issue 13, great front cover there. So Kyle Higgins, Marcello Costa for Radiant Black. We have Radiant Black's sort of sister title, but I'd argue it has a chance of being better than Radiant Black because the first 2 issues are brilliant. Issue 2. This is not the one I'm talking about I've read today, but I have already read it, because if you haven't seen it on our podcast network, we interviewed Ram Parrott, the writer and creator, and he sent us the first 2 issues, which we read in advance of that interview, and you should go listen to that interview. But yeah, great series, Rogue Sun, and I'm looking forward to reading it in print form, though, I will say that. Next up, we have Step by Bloody Step, so issue 2. So this is essentially the title that we recommended it before. It's a title that it's dialogue free, so there's no description through it, there's no dialogue. It's essentially a single issue story that is going to rely solely on the art. And the art in the first issue I thought was superb. I thought the story flowed really well. You filled in the blanks yourself. Great world building, great art. Highly recommend that as well. Swamp Thing is back, so basically, as it says in the start here, season 2 begins here. So I would imagine you can jump straight into this. I do recommend what came before, because the Ram V Mike Perkins run has been brilliant. But they're trying to make it user friendly for new readers who maybe missed out in the first 10 issues. So it's going to be 11 of 16, so a 6 issue second season, so to speak. Next up, we have The Fourth Man. I love these covers. They always look like the sort of front cover of a video you would have seen in the video store back in the 80s and 90s. So videos, kids, were what we used to watch movies on before DVDs and streaming, and yeah, I'm old. So The Fourth Man, really cool series from 8 other issues as well. The Heathens number 5 from Aftershock Studios. So this is Cullen Bunn and Heath Amodio, and again, this has been really sweet as well. Sort of a time traveling hopping adventure. Some of literature's greatest heroes bound together to try and take down Jack the Ripper. Sounds like Extraordinary Gentleman-esque. It's not quite as good as that, but it is rather good. And let's be honest, you knew fine rightly what title was going to be that I had already read today, and it was Batman One Dark Knight number 2. Oh, I love this title. I mean, anything Jock does, I'm a mark for. I absolutely love this issue. It's so fast paced. There's nothing complex about it, and I mean that in the nicest possible way. It's so streamlined. It's so focused. You can break it down to the story being Batman's just trying to get one person from point A to point B in Gotham, and everything in between is trying to stop him. Fantastic stuff. This actually had echoes of some of Miller's work for me. Take it out what you will. There's especially one panel towards the end, a little bit of inner monologue Batman does, that I just thought sounded like it was straight out of The Dark Knight Returns. It was absolutely class. Beautiful looking art as you would expect. Dynamic, fast paced, colourful. I love this book. This is one of the best adverts for Black Label Comics. Because it's just absolutely fantastic. So that was always going to be the first thing I read this week, and it really did not disappoint. And I'm actually just noticing there's one missing from here. I must have left it over in the desk, but the other one out this week as well, which I've read already, which is Batman Beyond the White Knight. So Sean Murphy is now back. I'll superimpose the cover right there. So we have that this week as well. This, of course, is a new volume of Murphy's Murphyverse, so to speak. You've already had Batman White Knight. You've had Batman Curse of the White Knight. You've had Batman White Knight Presents Harley Quinn. And now this is the latest fully fledged sequel, which is Batman Beyond the White Knight. So as I'm sure you can work out, it may just bring Terry McGinnis into it. Who knows? I know because I've read it. So yeah, that is the other one that should have been here, but it must be sitting over at the desk. But anyway, as ever guys, that's just my pull list. There's other stuff beyond that. There's some great stuff out this week. It's definitely a week of quality over quantity. You know, there are some weeks, you know, my pull list will be 30 plus issues. It's still a substantial pull list, don't get me wrong, but it's maybe a quieter week than others. But as I say, I would take quality over quantity every single time, and there really are some great books amongst there. Again, Dark Ages ended so well. DC versus Vampires was brilliant. Shadow War Alpha was a huge surprise by just how good it was. But I suppose I shouldn't be surprised by how good it is because Joshua Williams is class. So, but anyway, as ever, that is my pull list for this week, March the 30th. So, as ever, you see anything that takes your fancy, just drop us a message. We'll get you sorted. In the meantime, as ever, hope you guys are staying safe out there, and you know, I'll hopefully see you in the store throughout the week. So, take it easy.